In 1852, Frederick Douglass delivered his renowned speech titled "What to the Slave is the 4th of July?" In today's black social media, excerpts from this speech circulate as a subtle response to uncomplicated celebrations of American independence. Douglass pondered what the enslaved individuals would express if they were given the opportunity to reflect on themes of liberty, justice, and equality. How would their words differ from the rhetoric of free orators who usually spoke about American ideals? The shift in perspective that occurs when the powerless are given a voice leads to a revolution in understanding, and this remains unchanged. On Independence Day, what would those who lost loved ones in the Buffalo mass shooting say about justice in America? If we invited black women, who disproportionately experience death and trauma during childbirth, to reflect on the inalienable right to life, what harsh truths might we hear about their fears for themselves and their unborn children? What thoughts on liberty could we expect from those who endure unjust sentencing or are racially profiled during traffic stops? The problems our nation faces and the persisting injustices are not unfamiliar to us, but there is a certain pressure to set aside our grievances, particularly on this holiday. On the 4th of July, we are encouraged to proudly display our flags, sing "God Bless America" with gusto, and enjoy humble gratitude while grilling burgers. Reflecting on the demand for patriotism, Douglass stated, "As a people, Americans are remarkably familiar with all facts which make in their own favor. It is a fact, that whatever makes for the wealth or for the reputation of Americans will be found by Americans. Our country desires a specific version of the American narrative, and it will applaud anyone willing to tell it. However, uncritical celebration represents a limited and false understanding of patriotism. Instead, recounting the complete story of America and demanding that it be better than it currently is can be an expression of love." Douglass challenged the notion that certain truths should be overlooked. He composed this speech in response to the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, which mandated the return of escaped slaves to their owners. He described this act of Congress as turning the nation into a hunting ground for men and tarnishing the entire republic because your lawmakers have commanded all good citizens to engage in this hellish sport. Douglass linked his protest with the ideals celebrated on the 4th of July. He acknowledged that the Founding Fathers were great men who risked their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor for the cause of their country. The problem did not lie in the vision of the country we commemorate on this day. The fault lay in the fact that some were excluded. Douglass had the audacity to believe that America's story was incomplete until the nation fulfilled all its promises. There is hidden affection within his scathing rebuke. More than a century later, in his "I Have a Dream" speech, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. echoed Douglass's sentiments. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Today, if Americans protest systemic injustice or resist efforts to erase the history of racial oppression from school curricula, some people label the demonstrators as anti-American, rather than acknowledging the intentional act of forgetting. Douglass's patriotism went beyond resistance. In the early years of the Civil War, he saw. Thank you for watching. If you like our content, like, share and subscribe.